Happy doo-doo. Hello, my wonderful friends. Has it really been another week? It has really been another week. It's time for another edition of the Nintendo News Roundup. Let's talk about the news. I got the news right here. Let's talk about it. Switch OLED model pre-orders went live at noon Pacific time today. Nintendo, I woke up this morning and I saw the tweet. Nintendo announced ahead of time that they would be going live, and that was very nice of them. It was very nice of them to give us a little bit of a heads up. It would have, in a perfect world, I feel like they would have told us at least like the day before or something, but this was still good. Ran to Best Buy, but they were only doing pre-orders online, and I'm like, I ain't touching that. I'm not touching it online. Ran over to GameStop. They had them. Funny enough, nobody else was there doing pre-ordering the Switch OLED except my two of my good friends, Brian and Chris, showed up, so we were like the three ones that just happened to be there. So if you were looking to get one of those, I definitely hope you got a pre-order. I don't know if it's gonna be hard to get these things, but I assume that it is. According to a Bloomberg report, the Switch OLED model costs Nintendo about $10 more than the regular model to manufacture. And I know a lot of people like, it only costs them $10 more, but they're charging us $50, but it's just kind of how it goes. And there's R&D and all that stuff. It's more than just the whatever. But then at the same time, it is a good little good little fuel just for like a little extra snarkiness. Just like, $10, huh, Nintendo? Wow. And you charging us $50? It's good. Everybody wins. The snarky people win. The not snarky people win. We can all be grumpy or not grumpy as much as we want. Let's be grumpy together. Anyway, moving on. YouTuber by the name of, it's called VK's channel. I assume they go by VK. Whatever. So they put out a video claiming, it's a pretty big claim, claiming to have fixed Joy-Con drift. There's a video here you can check out. It does require taking apart the Joy-Con, but then just putting a little piece of like paper or cardboard or something in a spot to put pressure on the stick. And they claim that it's completely working for them. People will have to dig into it to see if it works. It seems, I'm skeptical of it. Because you would think, because even when the Switch first came out, there was a problem with connecting, like the Bluetooth connection on one of the Joy-Cons, and so Nintendo realized all they needed to do was put a little piece of conductive foam in there. And you'd think that they would come up with a similar solution here. So, I don't know, because this person says that it's because it's losing contact, so you're kind of like putting pressure on it. But then I've also heard that it's because of like metallic shavings and things getting worn out, so not necessarily just a pressure. It's possible that this fixes it in some cases, but not others. Who knows? It'll take some doing. I'm sure Spawnwave will be doing a whole thing on this. Always just look over there for Joy-Con related stuff. Sure would be nice. Would be really nice if that's all that it took, wouldn't it? I sure hope so. This is obviously not really Nintendo news, but you'll see how it sort of basically is. Valve just announced the Steam Deck. A while back, we were seeing patents and stuff for a handheld Steam device, and now they're finally doing it. This is their own personal hardware take on a handheld system. It's not streaming the games or anything. It itself is a little PC. Like, it's a legitimate little console there, and you can also dock it to the TV, so it's basically a little Switch, except it runs SteamOS and can play your Steam games. And it's really cool. There's a lot more you can do with it too, because they're very careful to specify that this thing is a little PC. It's not just like a thing and you log into your Steam and that's all that it can do. You can do other stuff with it too, which is really cool. I'd say the most interesting thing here is that the lowest priced one with the least amount of storage, it's not a lot, it's like 64 gigs, which is not a lot, but it's $350, which is obviously as much as a Switch OLED model. This thing itself does not have an OLED screen, but presumably it's going to be significantly more powerful than a Switch. However much, I'm not really sure. I'll probably pick one up just to kind of compare the two. I think that'll make for a fun video. And, like at the end of the day, these two products are probably not really going to be competing. Nintendo's kind of in their own little bubble. But if it's a lot more powerful, it will be interesting to see. Like, wow, look at that. This thing is really, really powerful, and it costs as much as a Switch, and the Switch is still running this super old tech, and I don't know, that, I guess if anything, it'll just make it more frustrating. but whatever, there you go. If you're interested in that kind of thing, I thought that was interesting. Pre-orders, actually, at the time of this recording, pre-orders are going live tomorrow, which is funny. Today, pre-ordered a Switch OLED. tomorrow. Hopefully, probably not because it's online, hopefully pre-ordering a Steam Deck. Coming out this December. Nintendo has been kind of drip feeding Skyward Sword HD details to us, this quality of life stuff that we were looking for, we didn't know about for so long. Now they're kind of just like over the days and weeks, just kind of drip feeding stuff on Twitter. And some more stuff has come up, some more very exciting stuff. This one specifically is talking about, and it's corroborated completely by people with early copies of the game and everything, that Skyward Sword HD, the intro, like the beginning of the game, it takes hours to get through. It has been cut down dramatically. I did not anticipate this. I expected the like control tweaks and all that, but even like Fi, sure, but like, I don't know, like changing the actual, like the beginning of the game, it's awesome. It's great. So many people did not even get through the tutorial area of Skyward Sword because it's so long and so boring. I didn't mind the tutorial, but like, that's great. I don't know. It's awesome. They're really doing a lot of work here, and that's great. They've also added camera controls. They've confirmed all of this is going to be obvious soon anyway. I guess technically it comes out at midnight tonight, but whatever, it's in the news roundup. And, your regular like motion controlled setting with the Joy-Cons, you can move the stick just like in any old game. But then if you're doing like button and stick controls, you gotta hold down the L button in order to move the camera. Slightly awkward, but still pretty cool. Full camera control in a game that never had it. Very, very awesome. So as we have seen in the past, Japan has these laws in place that basically, it's like protections for like a digital competition. Like, people have gotten in trouble for cheating at, like, online games and stuff because that's not fair. And, you know, if you're competing, it's not fair to cheat. But apparently, somebody was selling hacked save data for Breath of the Wild, like the ultimate save data, I presume, just with all the items or whatever, and they were selling these files, and that's already weird. They were making a pretty good amount of money, too. Like, a pretty good amount of money. And that's already weird because it's like, why? What fun is a completed Breath of the Wild? I don't really know. Maybe there was stuff going on in the file or something. It's just weird that someone would pay money for that. But apparently this was grounds to arrest this person. They were arrested, which is a little weird. That feels like the law going a little too far because this is not a competitive game. And also, like, come on, you're changing up files in a video game. You know, it doesn't seem like one of those things that should be illegal. And, you know, on an online game, I can sort of get it. But with Breath of the Wild, it's like, come on. So that's actually a little bit scary. But there you go. They were apparently selling the files for $32. And they were arrested for providing paid services to circumvent technical restrictions placed on the Switch by Nintendo. Yep. That's what they did, I guess. More good news for Monolith Soft. We've seen the company growing quite steadily over the last year or so, and apparently through the fiscal year ending this last March, the company, their profits grew 138.2% over the previous fiscal year. A dramatic increase, and obviously that was probably mostly due to the Xenoblade 1 remakester, whatever. And it's kind of interesting that we didn't see a bump this big with previous Xenoblade games, but it could be that this just kind of got the ball rolling a lot more. Pyra and Mithra were in Smash, and then people getting this one and becoming fans. Then they also had Xenoblade 2 to go by and the DLC, so it could just be like kind of an exponential growth kind of thing, which is awesome. Very cool to see. I didn't realize this, but apparently Game Builder Garage did not get a physical release in Europe, but it seems that it was just a delay, and that now they have officially confirmed that it will be coming to Europe this September. And end of news story. Good one. Pokemon Unite officially launches on the Switch on July 21st, which is obviously coming up pretty soon here, and people who get in on the action early can even get a special Zeraora, however you pronounce that. And I still really don't know anybody who's excited about this. I don't know. I'm sure like there's gonna be a lot of people. The general masses are probably gonna like it, but I don't know. Maybe just the people I hang out with and am exposed to are kind of wary enough of this kind of game and Tencent and all the monetization, all that stuff. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who's excited for Pokemon Unite. It's really just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Okinawa in Japan is apparently a very big tourist place, and Pokemon Go is going to release a special Pikachu with a special shirt tied to the area, but then viral cases were going down, and now they're going back up again, so they're probably wisely delaying the release of the Pikachu. They don't want to encourage people to go out and, you know, and all that. Which is funny, because it's like, you guys were just you were just relaxing all of your, like, pandemic Pokemon Go stuff and getting, you know, encouraging people to go back out there again. Like, look what's happening. You're having to roll some stuff back, so I don't know. Maybe you just shouldn't for a little while. The Octopath Traveler team made a special tweet in commemoration of the game's 3rd anniversary. Absolutely cannot believe that game has been out for 3 years already. That is nuts. But most interestingly, they kind of alluded to, like, oh, we want to do more stories in the future. So it's kind of like, are you talking about an Octopath sequel? I kind of thought Triangle Strategy was basically the follow-up to that. But is there also an Octopath thing in the works? That'd be pretty cool, but who knows at this point. A while back, it seemed that the Dark Samus amiibo was getting a reprint, and now the Ridley amiibo is getting a reprint. Unfortunately, it's only coming to GameStop. And I have to say, like, a couple sad things about it. Obviously, like, any amiibo exclusive to GameStop or anywhere, that's just really disappointing. And then, like, I kind of didn't think that when, like, amiibo, you can't find them anymore. I didn't know they were, like, even officially out of print. It was just kind of like, I don't know, maybe you could find it somewhere. But the fact that now we can pre-order a reprint is very sad. It's really just like confirmation that, like, oh yeah, they stopped making those. Why? Why have you stopped making any of them? Just have a big online store where we can buy all of them. I've been on enough about that already. It's cool that all these Metroid amiibo are getting restocked, though. I mean, you're right. New Metroid game coming, you might as well. I hope they put out more copies of the new ones, because I didn't act on that fast enough, and now I'm not going to get the Metroid and the Emmy, and I'm pretty sad about it. So an extremely rare early production variant, and a completely sealed copy of the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, broke the record for just the biggest, stupidest amount of money paid for any video game in the history of ever, $870,000. That was the world record. And kind of as an aside, I would love to meet the person writing the copy for these. Like, this is, because I mean, like, this is real money here. This is like, you know, it's like in a movie when it's like the mob bosses are at the auction and they're selling things for like millions of dollars and it's like super fancy. I mean, that's basically how they're treating it here. Look at this. Truly, the term grail only begins to scratch the surface of describing this game. Of all the games we've offered in our auctions, this sealed early production copy of the first game in the groundbreaking Legend of Zelda series is no doubt the apotheosis of rarity, cultural significance, and collection centerpieces. A proverbial trifecta of collector perfection that only one will receive the honor of calling their own. That's awesome. I'm gonna hire this person to write some stuff for me. That is good. Funny enough, though, immediately after that auction, after that broke the record, a rare copy of Super Mario 64 sold for $1.56 million, completely shattering the record almost by double. And it's weird because I'm not actually sure why. I mean, this game is newer than Zelda, and as far as I can tell, it wasn't even like a special copy. It was just a sealed copy of Mario 64. It was graded higher though, 9.8, almost perfect condition. So, and like, you can't help but this thing. Like, I remember being at Walmart. I remember them being on the shelves. You could have just bought them all. You just could have just bought them all, stuffed them in a box, and sold them for $1 million each later. That's all you had to do. It's making me want to go out and buy some copies of, like, Breath of the Wild and stuff and put them in a box. I actually do have an unopened copy of Twilight Princess on the GameCube. Last time I looked it up, those were going for like $1,000 or $2,000 on eBay, but I didn't protect it very well. I didn't like put it in a case. It's probably just in a box somewhere, so it's probably not worth that much. Anyway, moving on, another rare thing, a Nintendo Life Reader found what is probably the rarest e-reader card ever. This was a special card only given out to people at E3 2002, and it was a card that people got and they had to have it redeemed, and when the Nintendo rep redeemed it, they would rip it up and give them a prize or something. So there were only a few of these made, and this one was somehow unredeemed. So there you go, the rarest e-reader card in existence. Who knows how much that'll go for at auction. And you know what, my little friendos, that is it for this edition of the Nintendo News Roundup. A little bit of a light week, you know, not a lot of big mind-blowing stories, but you know, they got the job done. We had some news, we got to talk about it and all that stuff. So there you go, have a wonderful day, goodbye.